Being a jerk is better than being a nothing. Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by for some more Friday the 13th news for you. So, what has happened, and this is a little suspect, we'll talk about this in a little bit later on, but what has happened, if you guys have been paying attention, over the course of the last, I don't know, 1 or 2 years, La La Land Records have been releasing what they dub the ultimate cut of Friday the 13th soundtracks, beginning with the first film from 1980, Friday the 13th on CD, the ultimate cut, which it's supposedly they bill as newly found music, the actual newly found material of the recording sessions from the Harry Manfredini scoring sessions for the early Friday the 13th, which, had been said to have been missing or lost for decades and decades. Was, what they're saying is it was these materials have been recently found. So they put out the ultimate cut of the first movie, and I just thought that would be that. They found the materials for the first movie, but then last year, or was it probably this year, they put out the ultimate cut for the second movie, and I think, I bought both of those, obviously, and reviewed them, I think. Pretty sure, time flies, and I don't know if I mentioned it on my review of the CD soundtrack for the second film, but it's like, okay, I'm sensing a pattern here. Are they just going to do this for 3, 4, and 5, and possibly 6? 6 they don't really need to do because I don't think the tapes were ever lost for 6, but they might do 6 anyway just to make money. But one can only assume at this point that they're just going to do 4 and 5 as well. But what this video is about is they just recently started selling, which ships beginning October 10th, from what I understand. They started selling the music from the motion picture Friday the 13th Part 3, the ultimate cut, music by Harry Manfredini. Now, if you don't know, and you probably do know if you're watching this and a Friday the 13th fan, I mean, a lot of the music featured in Part 3 was recycled from, was it mostly 2 and partly 1 perhaps, but most of the music up until like the end of Part 3 was recycled from music from Part 1 and 2. So, I mean, when this news initially came down the pike, I was like, yeah, okay. Not exactly sure if I'm going to get this, but I figured, what the hell, we can take a look here at the track listing. So you can see that there's, of course, previously unreleased stuff and tracks that contain previously unreleased material. Those kind of things just whet my appetite like no one's business for original Harry Manfredini scores from Friday the 13th films. So it's impossible for me to, like, if this was all just stuff that we already had, I probably wouldn't have got it. But because of those asterisks and the cross of Christ that you can be seen there, that indicates not used in film, I couldn't help it. I had to get this, even if it's just for a few seconds of never before heard original Harry Manfredini music for Friday the 13th Part 3. So just like with the releases of the first two, if you ordered early enough, and I ordered right when, well, I think I ordered early enough, hopefully, that the first orders were going to be autographed, or are going to be autographed, by Harry Manfredini. I didn't know about that when I got the first one. I was lucky enough to get an autographed CD of the Part 2 soundtrack, and hopefully I'll get an autographed CD of the Part 3 soundtrack. But yeah, I mean, like I say, one can only assume they're going to do the same thing with Final Chapter and New Beginning. Final Chapter is very much like 3, where a lot of the music is recycled, although it's brand new stuff for the beginning. Title music, obviously, in the end of the movie. But I definitely do it for I'd probably do it for Final Chapter and New Beginning. New Beginning, as we know, has all new music for that movie. No recycled music at all. And not that not a whole lot if there is recycled music in there, but probably wouldn't be interested in anything past 5 because I'm not crazy about the Jason Lives Part 6 soundtrack. So before I end this video, another thing to take note of, if you're interested in possibly getting this release, basically on October 3rd, they started a 21-year-old, you're celebrating La La Land Records' 21st birthday from October 3rd until the end of the month, Halloween, they're taking 21% off your entire order of in-stock titles. So I got 21% off the ultimate cut of Friday the 13th Part 3, and I just went for it. I've been thinking about it for months and months and months. I haven't done it. I went for it and got they also offer a limited edition of the Fred Molan / Harry Manfredini soundtrack to Part 7. I just couldn't help myself, especially since I figured since I was paying shipping on this anyway, especially since it was 21% off, I better grab the CD for Part 7 as well, even though that's not nearly as wonderful as the original Harry Manfredini stuff from the early films. But Part 7 was the first one I saw when I was a kid, so there's a special place in my heart for that. But obviously, I'll be stopping by to do a review of those two CDs after I get them. Look here, you can see the tracks that are sampleable, the ones that are underlined. You can go to the website, lalalandrecords.com, and sample these underlined tracks, about on average 90-second sampling of each track. So that's kind of fun. So I guess that pretty much does it for this video. A little longer than I intended, but as you may or may not know, that'll happen on this channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, we'll catch ya on the next video.